Well, speaking of demoralising derby defeats, let's go north to Queensland, where Gold Coast got the better of the Lions to the tune of 11 goals. It was incredible. We were expecting a response from the Suns after they got bullied by the Crows. And in your view, Kate, it came around stoppages.
It did, yeah, absolutely. It was their highest, or their club record, for points from stoppage. So they kicked 84 points from that source. They also handed Brisbane their biggest stoppage differential under Chris Fagan. So negative 61 scores from that source. So Witts was dominant in the ruck. The man that we're about to speak about, Matt Rowell, he was absolutely phenomenal and just was everywhere through that stoppage. And having a look here, just some of the defensive efforts. Obviously, Dane Zorko had a bit of a bet each way on that one, and you can't really do that when the man, Noah Anderson, is getting on the end of yet another clearance and hitting the scoreboard. And this here, just a simple little switch, works Leicester under the footy. That's Jai Farah, who came in for his first game of the season, was a big inclusion as well. But yeah, I think they would have been really disappointed, the Lions, with how they rolled out there. But all credit has to go to the Gold Coast Suns. They've been bullied by the Lions previously, and this time they were the ones that were handing out the hefty defeat.
24 on a goal for Noah Anderson in the first half. But for our Saturday star, speaking of stoppage bulls, you've gone with Matt Rowell. Incredible for him today.
Had to be none other than Matt Rowell with this performance. 37 disposals, 23 of those were contested. He had 12 tackles, 15 clearances and 730 metres gained. But the thing I want to highlight the most, the previous 5 QClashes, Josh Dunkley has had Matt Rowell's number. He's matched up with him. He has been able to keep him to an average of 18 disposals, 8.8 contested possessions, just the 4 clearances and 7 tackles. So his ability to really work through that and to be able to put on a performance that won him the Marcus Ashcroft medal in a really important game for the Gold Coast Suns, to bounce back from that loss against Adelaide Crows, as you said, Xander, and for Matt Rowell to do it in that fashion was really impressive. But I want to touch on a couple of the inclusions. So it was a big call at the selection table from Damien Hardwick. He made 5 changes to the team, but the 2 that I want to touch on are the 2 at the top of that list, Alex Davies and Jai Farah. So Alex Davies played a really important role through that midfield. He added the physicality element. He went and stood next to Josh Dunkley as much as he could to free up Matt Rowell, which allowed him to play that game. But he also had 30 disposals, 10 tackles and 6 clearances on top of that. Jai Farah, 13 disposals, 3 goals, hit the scoreboard beautifully. Obviously, Sam Collins back into the team. They had the ability to rest him as well in the last quarter. But 2 of the big ones, the outs of Jed Walter, who Damien Hardwick said it was probably the hardest conversation he's had to have with a player to drop him. Wow. And the other one, Daniel Rioli, we're all talking about how big a loss that is, which it absolutely is for the Gold Coast Suns. But Joel Jeffrey has been showing most of the year that he can play that role. He stepped up and played that role beautifully in the absence of Daniel Rioli. Shades
of Hardwick from 2017 in the way that he's able to turn these players into magnificent role players that are having a huge impact on the side leading into September, which takes us back to Dimmer in 2017 and a bit of that Richmond era when he put Big Boy Month on the agenda. And let's talk about Gold Coast's performance in Big Boy Month, because they've made a number of statements, some positive, some negative. What have you made of them?
Yeah, I think they've probably passed the Big Boy Month test up until this point. Obviously, would have been really disappointed with last week against Adelaide. It was not up to standard, but I think they learnt very quickly that you have to play week by week in this competition, especially if you're competitive. So they were really happy and should have been really proud about their victory over the Pies, but you could see that they kind of maybe left it a little bit too long to reflect on that one and to celebrate it, because they didn't rock up at the Adelaide Oval, but they quickly turned that around against the Lions. So you got to give them a pass mark for Big Boy Month up until this point.